Prime Minister Garrett says the ruling DLP government has made significant progress in its quest to reduce the country's debt. The Ministry of Health ensures that measures are being taken to control the spread of the chikungunya virus on island. Thanks for joining us for another edition of National Focus. I'm Kimani Saint-Jean.
And I'm Jarna Hector. Stay with us for details of the headline stories and others coming up after this.
Dominica is blessed with an abundance of water, but getting it to your home is an expensive venture. You have a responsibility to conserve water, to use it wisely. Remember the old adage, you never miss the water till the well runs dry. Think water, think life.
Thanks for staying with us. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Garrett says the ruling DLP government has made significant progress in its quest to reduce the country's debt. The Dominica leader was addressing Sunday's official launch of the Monjon Riviere Grand Fond Labor Youth Organization.
We have reduced our debt from 110% of GDP to 65% of GDP. That is about managing the debt and keeping the debt at low levels so that you, the citizens and residents of this country, will not be burdened with a high debt rate.
The Dominica leader called on party supporters to get eligible youths registered to vote, and while not announcing a date, he assured them that his party was ready for the next general elections.
In respect to the election date, I am saying to you here in Grand Fond Dominica that you must place your eyes on me. Place your eyes on me, and you will get a hint at the right time about the date of the next general election. But all I will say to you tonight is that I am in the best of health. I am ready.
Meantime, Honorable Ivor Stevenson says much has been achieved under his watch as parliamentary representative for the Grand Fond constituency.
Presently, there is ongoing works at the Grand Fond School where the school kitchen is being refurbished and extended in an effort to improve the conditions of this building for the continued improvement of the school feeding program. This is done at a cost of $150,000 with grant funds provided by the Japanese government. In Riviere, particularly in the community of Freyal, our school children are now being transported from Freyal to Monjon. Never in the history of this village has this ever happened.
GIS will bring you a full report on the launch of the Labor Youth Organization in Monjon, Riviere and Grand Fond in Tuesday's newscast.
In more news, Parliamentary Representative for the Roseau Valley constituency, Honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre, says there are plans for the construction of a new road to the Cochrane community. Honorable McIntyre made the disclosure during an interview with GIS News last week.
We have suffered some major challenges on the road as well too, and we had 1 or 2 areas where we had some edge failure, and the plan is we have surveyed this road, and the plan is to really, Cochrane would need a new road, and our plan is to continue the complete survey of this road and to build a new road for Cochrane.
The Roseau Valley MP says there is tangible evidence that he is prepared to take action to address issues of access within that constituency.
When I came into office, there was this road, the back road to Springfield. It was in a bad state for 30 years. 30 years. I remember as a young veterinarian traveling through the back road into Cochrane. That's what I traveled on. And for 30 years, no government saw it fit to fix this road. When I got into office, when I was the Minister of Agriculture under one of our feeder road programs, when I made the promise, I was sure I had this road. And this is the back road you see from Springfield up for Cochrane. There's a little piece that needs to be done in terms of joining it to the on top of the hill there. And of course, we'll fix it up. But it shows you the interest of this government in trying to help people and partnering with people.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. David Johnson has confirmed that as of February 13, 2014, 31 cases of the chikungunya disease have been reported on the island. At a press conference called last Friday, it was disclosed that the virus spread by the Aedes aegypti mosquito has been prevalent primarily in the communities of Woodford Hill and Bath Estate. Symptoms of the disease include fever, joint pains, nausea, and muscle pains. Speaking at the press conference, Chief Environmental Health Officer Anthony Scotland assured the general public that measures are being taken by the Ministry of Health to suppress the outbreak.
Where you have a positive case of chikungunya, the EHO within that district will go in to discuss the matter with the household, identify if there are any other cases, because you might in the community you have a lot of people with still fever and pains. This is a sign that they are sick. They might not be seeking medical attention. So we're going to be going in there, talk to them, and informing them that we're coming to treat these houses. That we're going to be using an indoor residual spray insecticide that actually will be killing adult mosquitoes, and also doing a surveillance around the buildings that is about between a 50 to 100 yard area to treat for fog for mosquito breeding. National President further expand on that. We also we had training of our officers, because the environmental health officers and the vector control officers, that's about 35 in number, they have been educated and informed as to the best strategy to use to control chikungunya.
Along with environmental health officers and employees of the National Pest and Termite Control Company, the ministry has consulted with international experts on Aedes aegypti vector control. Professor of Epidemiology at Yale School of Public Health, Dr. Derlan Fish, went in depth on a residual spraying method designed to curb transmission of the disease.
It's different from what we've been doing for dengue fever. It's a new approach. It targets the patients. We're trying to identify patients as soon as possible, and then put them under a bed net when they're sick, so they don't infect any new mosquitoes. And then we conduct what's called indoor residual spraying. It's a very safe liquid chemical that we spray on the insides of houses, on the walls and closets and places where these mosquitoes hide. The adults hide inside houses. And if we can put an indoor residual spray inside the houses, any mosquitoes that are in that house that land on any surface that has this insecticide on it, it'll kill them. And it lasts for weeks, several weeks. So it's very effective. But we have to get in, we have to identify the patients and get in the houses and apply these insecticides so that we can kill infected mosquitoes so they can't transmit infection to anybody else in the neighborhood. So this is a new approach. It's it's kind of a strategic, surgical approach to try to curb the transmission of the virus.
Dr. Fish, considered by many as an honorary Dominican, has been conducting research on vector-borne diseases for approximately 30 years. In his remarks, Dr. David Johnson said the ministry has conducted rapid response as it relates to the control of the disease. He says there is no cause for alarm.
There is no need to be alarmed at this time in Dominica. A number of other countries in the Caribbean and outside of the Caribbean have been faced with chikungunya. The Ministry of Health is taking a responsible action in terms of its total comprehensive and rapid response. Dominica is a safe place to visit and to be at this time.
Dr. Johnson noted that signs and symptoms of the disease are present in other communities such as Portsmouth, St. Joseph, Castlebros, Grand Bay, La Plaine, Marigot, and Roseau on a minimal level. He expressed that since the outbreak, only 3 individuals have been hospitalized. Dr. Johnson added that due to the low severity of the disease, it is very unlikely that persons will be seeking medical attention. Infected persons are being treated at their homes. No deaths due to the virus have been reported by the Ministry of Health. And that's sort of good news, Jarna. No deaths have been reported, so it means that the disease, though it's not very severe, but still people should take note and do what is necessary to prevent themselves from getting infected with that disease.
I think that is the most important part of the story, that since we heard about this strange virus, the Ministry of Health has been on board to just educate the public, and I see vector control and the public health messages going out, and now it's just left up to us to do what we have to do to protect ourselves from the vector.
Yes, definitely. And we know what some of those measures are that they've been speaking about. If you have areas where water is exposed and is stagnant, like in barrels or so, if you're collecting water, you need to have them covered. If you have derelict vehicles in the area, if you have bottles collecting water, whatever you have collecting water in your immediate environment, then you should do what is necessary to avoid that in order to control the spread of the disease, because it's spread through the mosquitoes.
Right, and we should also take care to protect our person from mosquito bites. Use mosquito repellent, mosquito net if necessary. Close your doors earlier if necessary, just to make sure that we stay healthy. I mean, it's a festive time. We don't want to get sick at this time.
Yes, and wear long sleeves as well.
Right, right, and stay away from black clothing as well.
Yes. So let's do what is necessary to keep ourselves safe from the chikungunya virus. On last week's tour of the Northern Agricultural Region, led by Agriculture and Forestry Minister Honorable Matthew Walter, the team met a young man passionately involved in cuniculture or rabbit rearing. Kim Fedrick of Vekas, at his last count, realized that after 8 months, his rabbit business is doing well with 110 rabbits.
Rabbits is a thing I always like. Since I was young, I was doing rabbits. But first time I really decided I'm going to do it on a professional level.
Although his relatively new business has yet to realize a profit, Kim says there is always a market for rabbits, which leads to his optimism.
I sell live for a few people and I slaughter like every month, like right now, for a few customers.
Kim reported that he is satisfied with the support received by the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, as well as his field extension officer.
Ministry of Agriculture assists me by, well, we get the cages and them from the Ministry of Agriculture at a very good price, I would say, because you have to get the wire and those things from other people at suppliers. It's very expensive, but I find the Ministry of Agriculture supply the wire at a very good price.
On a smaller scale, Kim also rears pork and poultry. Top agriculture and forestry officials and representatives of the Chinese Agricultural Mission to Dominica were among those visiting farms from Portsmouth to Vekas to Paybush and communities in between last week. In more news, on Thursday last week, the Rotary Club of Portsmouth had its opportunity to hand out well-needed wheelchairs to persons with disabilities in the north of the island. Just recently, the Rotary Club of Roseau donated several wheelchairs to persons in the southern and eastern parts of the island, and also contributed 10 chairs to the Rotary Club of Portsmouth for redistribution.
I would also like to thank the Rotary Club of Dominica for their partnership in this matter. These wheelchairs did not come directly to the Portsmouth Rotary Club. They came as a partnership that the Dominica Club has with the Wheelchair Foundation, and in their team spirit, the Rotary Club of Dominica chose to let us participate in this wheelchair handout.
Chairs were handed out to persons in the communities of Tukari, Dodan, and Kalibishi. Natalie Murphy, Executive Director of the Dominica Association of Persons with Disabilities, expressed gratitude to the Rotary Club of Portsmouth for its involvement in assisting persons who are physically challenged. During brief remarks, Murphy placed emphasis on her major concern, which is the accessibility of the physical environment to persons with disabilities.
Accessibility to the physical environment and public buildings. You can read more about it in the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities under Article 9. Rehabilitation, the presentation, the use of wheelchairs, the acquisition of wheelchairs of persons with disability, all forms part of habitation and rehabilitation of persons with disabilities.
The Rotary Club of Portsmouth also took the opportunity to list a few major projects which the club is undertaking. These include the erection of a bus stop in Salibel, renovation of the emergency room at the Portsmouth Hospital, and a sanitation project for several homes in the community of Calabishi, which may take up to 2 years.
Meanwhile, a small team of soccer players from the United States is in Dominica for 1 week to serve the community through sport. Lee Doherty, founder and CEO of the UK Soccer Development, heads the team. Doherty, a UK national, moved to the United States about 9 years ago and 4 years later formed the organization.
I was lucky enough to travel in the British Army as a paratrooper around the world and see how much difference that football could make, and then I came to the US to play and coach soccer, and then 5 years ago started an organisation called UK Soccer Development, with the whole idea being getting high school age kids involved in the community and doing some good through soccer. We've got several programs. One of our programs is our overseas social change soccer tour, which is where we take kids overseas to basically do our mission in different countries and different communities.
The team made donations of 3 barrels of equipment to a number of schools across the north, as well as to CALS, the center where adolescents learn to love and serve. The team is also scheduled to visit the Kalinago territory. While on island, the UK Soccer Development will work with Rotary Club on its project to build a new bus stop in Salibir.
They say I'm a baby machine, they say I am good for nothing. Why? Because I'm making children. Why? Just making children. They call me that kind of woman, that kind of like plenty man. Why? Because I'm making children. Why? I am throwing them. But when election coming and every vote counting, let us come running to that same mama wedding them gang of man, making children for them.
My wife getting sick, she say wait, don't speak, let Lennox and them take care of this corrupt government, leave it alone, we have our loan. Them boys dangerous, they will victimize us. I say, darling, don't you know, a man must do what a man has to do. I have to talk, no matter the cost, or our children won't be able to.
Calypsonians Leona and The Wave are among the 9 who have been selected to meet reigning monarch Dice in the final round of the 2014 Calypso Monarch. The selection was made at the semi-finals competition, which took place at the Newtown Savannah last Saturday. The other finalists are Buple, The Web, The Bob, Beno, Black Diamond, The Hunter, and Piki. 20 Calypsonians competed in Saturday's competition. The Calypso Monarch final competition is scheduled to take place on March 1st at the Windsor Park Stadium. And that's it for National Focus. Stay tuned for today's tip of the day.
Together we build, together we strive. We see it all on your Government Information Service, Channel 7. This is the Government Information Service, bringing you all that you need to know about all that's happening in your country's development. GIS, you and your channel.
Psychologists study happiness like it is a mysterious phenomenon. They suggest things like work in a meaningful career, spend time with friends, and take time to savor the day as a means to increase happiness. Looking deeper would cause them to realize that these things cultivate happiness only because people express love while doing them.
So here's one tip to help you create happiness. Express love. When you express the emotion of love, you create happiness and joy within yourself. Happiness is not just a state of mind, it is also a state of emotion. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and your comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm.
Friend us on our Facebook page and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Kimani.
And I'm Jarna Hector. Thank you for watching.